Welcome back to Community Conversations. I'm your host, Steve Mantis, and my guest today is Frank Pullia from the
City of Thunder Bay?
City of Thunder Bay. So now, Frank, you're a city councilor.
Yes.
You're an elected position, and then there's people that are staff.
Yes.
So how does your role fit into that big picture, the operation of the city?
It's a very good question because many times, we are called by the citizens to help them navigate the system. And what I suggest to them is first call administration, the specific department you're having an issue with, because then it allows me to do my job better. Our staff respond in dealing with whatever issue any citizen may have, and they're able to address the issue if they can't, because they are limited in the flexibility of responding. I have, as a council, as an elected official, more of the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
I have more flexibility to bring different resources to bear on a specific point. And failing that in terms of our ability to respond, citizens know that they can always come in front of City Council, and City Council as a whole can interpret the regulation and provide a response. So that's the last resort, coming to council, and then council will say, yes, we can do this, or no, we can't, because we would be going against the provincial regulation. It has happened in the past where council unanimously approved something, and then provincial regulations, especially when we're dealing with planning and building, remember that the city is a creature of the province.
Mm-hmm.
We are regulated heavily by provincial bylaws and planning.
So you just
rules.
can't do what you want to do.
We can't do everything we want to do. Otherwise, we're not like the U.S. where municipalities have a different level of powers.
Okay.
For the first time now in Canada, or even in Ontario, the City of Toronto has different powers. And now there is a movement on behalf of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities and even the Association of Municipalities of Ontario to push towards allowing municipalities more powers, because property taxes alone do not cover all the expenses. There are transfer payments, there are user fees, but we need, if you really think about it, property taxes are a regressive form of taxation because it doesn't move with the economy like the HST does.
Mm-hmm.
And other provinces like Saskatchewan have been able to get a percentage of those provincial taxes, provincial sales tax, to be put in back into the municipalities. In Europe, a lot of the funding for municipalities comes from the HST, the value-added tax, which moves with inflation. It grows with the economy. Property taxes are very difficult for someone who is on a fixed income.
Of course.
And as the chair of finance, I try to put things in perspective so that we realize that we need to maintain reasonable tax increases. It's extremely difficult to do a 0% increase unless we go into our reserve. It's like taking money from the bank to cover this year's deficit. We need to live within our means, run an efficient operation, but there are some cost pressures. Inflation on material that we can't control,
Mm-hmm.
legal fees we can't control, some of the wages from protective services when they go to arbitration, they are outside of our control. And they've been going up about 3% a year. So if we're able to maintain taxes around 2 to 2.5%, we're actually doing pretty good because we're finding other savings within the operation, because usually inflation for municipalities are around 3.5%. So it's not like the CPI that is 1.5. Our cost of operation is higher because there are many things we can't control. You as an individual, you can go and buy the things that you really want. As a municipalities, we're mandated in many different ways that we have to go there, or we break some provincial rules. So we have, it's a challenge, but I think we're making some progress. We're moving in the right direction.
So let me ask you, over the last 20 years, we've seen a lot of change. The 20 years you've been involved
Yes.
in public office. We've seen the federal government cutting budgets so that they're putting less into education, they're putting less into health care. down to the provinces. Now the provinces have been downloading programs onto the city so that they don't have to pay for them. So the city is sitting here with seemingly with more and more responsibility. I mean, now rather than getting the dollars from the federal government to build their new hospital, we got to go out and go door to door and ask local residents to help pay for the hospital.
That's an excellent example. That
How-
was, for the first time, a
Where are we
municipality
going
had
here?
to put in money into a hospital. That should be the responsibility of the province. But you're right. In the 80s, in the 90s, there was downloading to the province. The province downloaded to municipalities. The rubber hits the pavement. We are the pavement.
And you're close at hand. You're always here.
And
You know,
we
you don't
are-
go away to Ottawa or Toronto
Exactly.
all the time. You're here so we can get
So I
at you.
go shopping at Intercity. It takes me 3 hours to get back home because I'm talking to about 15, 20 people. And I appreciate that because I think I'm there to represent them and our ability to explain things, how they work. So it's very important. So I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to communicate with our community. So this community conversation is really timely and much appreciated.
So on the one level, I kind of go, I like the idea that our municipality, our municipal government has more power because you are closer. It's easier to deal with you than the folks in Toronto or Ottawa. But without the ability for taxation other than property tax, which you're saying, hey, I'm reluctant to do too much here, where do you go? Like, are there different ways to access funds from the provincial or federal governments? Or like, do you have to be hustling out there? Or what? How do you meet the needs of the city with only limited powers as a government?
In the last 10 plus years, both the province and the feds have been coming forward with funding for municipalities. You know that in the current federal election, some of the issues being discussed have to do with how can we invest more in infrastructure. Municipalities are at the front line. They're the ones who provide the service. They're the economic engine of the country. They're the ones that, you know, deliver all kinds of services, from protective services to roads to cleaning, snow removal. Our ability to provide the research, technology and research, the level that we are with the regional hospital and the research institute would not have been possible without the telecommunication that today, like fiber optics that we have in place. Distance is not an issue anymore. I have worked with consulting firms and consultants all over North America, even internationally. Just with Skype, we're sharing information online, and we're able to talk, and we're able to conduct business. You can be on an island, you know, enjoying the beautiful weather that we had, or in your backyard, and do a run business right now. So the issues that we were facing 10, 20 years ago are not as much of issues anymore from that perspective. We have different kinds of issues.
We better hang it
Yeah.
right there. We'll come back in just a moment. Please stay with us.